What's going on? Welcome to the preview for the game against Bournemouth at Butlin Stadium. Get your beach balls, get your buckets out. That sounds a bit dodgy, doesn't it? We're at the Seaside on Sunday. And speaking of sand, lads, both clubs are in a bit of quicksand at the moment in regards to form. So in regards to the feeling going into this, are we any more optimistic or negative playing Bournemouth? Because it's not the Bournemouth, let's say, of the past couple of months, Shreyas.
I still believe that it will be very tough for us because in the past few seasons and even in the last game when we have come up against Bournemouth, they've managed to score 3 or 4 past us quite easily. So, and again, Bournemouth not being in form actually makes them even more dangerous. So I think for us it will be very tough to counter them considering the kind of players they've got.
Yeah. Do you see us struggling a bit Sunday, Sam?
Yeah, Bournemouth have got our number, haven't they? Just every time we face them, we just get battered.
Everyone's got our
not
number.
even. But Bournemouth especially. Like every time we face them, we just get 3 or 4 goals past us every time, and it just seems to be one of those teams that we do not do well against. Like a couple of years ago, the sort of bogey team was West Brom. Every time we went West Brom away, we just lose. And I don't know why. It just seemed to happen every single time. And now it's Bournemouth. Bournemouth every time we play them. Like, one of the worst games I ever saw was the Bournemouth game at Old Trafford. That was abysmal. Yeah. Fucking abysmal. And, yeah, I don't see that changing on Sunday.
Yeah, you'd probably put them in the same category as you'd like Crystal Palaces and Brightons and those kind of like, I don't know if you call them mid-table teams because Bournemouth done really well. But, well, they are. They're back in like 9th now, aren't they, I think, Bournemouth?
Yeah.
After a poor run of form, which we'll definitely dive into a little bit later on. But certainly, Shreyas, with Manchester United at least, there's no doubt that the Europa League is the priority. Just on a side note as well, I was watching some Athletic Club games over the past couple of nights. That's going to be a tough game. That's going to be a really tough game. But we'll save that for the preview because we'll dive into that. There's no doubt Europa League's priority in the minute, Shreyas. But even considering that and the changes that we made, did you think we was the better team against Wolves?
I think, yeah, because for the most part, I don't even remember Wolves having a clear shot on target. The only shot on target they had was the free kick, and it was a phenomenal free kick. So I think for the most part, I was quite delighted with the performances of Dorgu, Amas, even Fredrickson in the back. I think all of them look quite solid. Defensively, we look quite all right. Again, I just think that it's the attacking third department that needs still a lot of work, because I think it was the first time when I saw a lot of deliveries into the box, whether it was from Amas making a lot of runs, driving the ball forward from that left-hand side, Dorgu actually making a lot of good crosses and low crosses into the box, Garnacho making a lot of balls into the box, but it was just, you're not just getting that sort of clinical edge. You're not seeing a focal point who can actually direct those balls back into the back of the net. So more or less, I still think that we were a much better team. But again, if you don't have that sort of, bite in your attack, it's going to come and haunt you, especially in the Premier League. So against Wolves, we saw the very definition of, not converting your chances and ultimately paying for it. If we do the same against a team like Bournemouth, who I would say attacking-wise and even defensively are much more competent, much more organized than Wolves, it's going to be even worse.
Yeah, we saw a couple of surprises last weekend, didn't we, Sam, with Fredrickson, Amas. Are we expecting any more surprises this Sunday?
I would say you probably see some rotation because obviously Thursday is a big game, so he's going to want to rest as many of his first-team players as possible, I'd imagine. We've seen talks of Ahmad back in training. Bilbao's probably a bit soon for him, I'd imagine. But they've said Delict's close, Aiden Heaven's still not there yet. So apart from them 3, I think we've got pretty much everybody to pick from, so we should be able to rotate quite heavily, and I hope he does. I hope he's not playing the likes of Bruno and everybody like for the full 90 minutes, because it's just not necessary, because what are we to gain from this game? Not much. So yeah, just rotate as much as possible. Like, that's what he has to do.
A victory at the Seaside, that's what we gain. A nice little victory,
fantastic.
Get your win, go get your sugar donuts, get your sand buckets out, and, have a little relax on the beach, on the Bournemouth beach before the game against Bilbao. Amorim confirmed in the presser, Shreyas, that Diego Dalot could be out for the season. So, number one, does that concern you? And number two, how do we solve that wing-back equation for for the rest of the games?
I mean, again, not surprised because this is a guy who's been playing week in, week out for the past 2.5 years now. He's not gotten a single rest throughout this tenure. And again, he's also someone who covers a lot of ground in every single one of those games. So it was bound to happen at some point. And we could see it in Dallo as well as you can see it in Bruno as well, that you can see that them getting fatigued and tired around the 60th and 65th minute mark because they just don't have enough left in the tank if you pay them every single week, every single game for 90 or 95 minutes every single time. So not surprised that Dallo has picked up an injury. I think for the remainder of the season, our best bet is I think Dorgu is definitely going to be playing as one of the wing backs now. Maybe he shifts Mazraoui out there, but if not Mazraoui, I think Harry Amas is probably the way to go. I don't know how many minutes he'll get, but I'm sure that, even in the Europa League, even in the, remainder of the season, when it comes to the Premier League, I'm sure he'll be getting like 30, 35 odd minutes every single game.
Would that worry you now, Sam, going into these last stages of the Europa League? You've got potentially 2 semi-final games to play and a massive final. To have a player who's only just joined the club in Patrick Dorgu, Amas, who's only just made his first senior start in the Premier League recently, and then this mixed bag of players anyway as it is, that's slightly concerning, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I liked what I saw with Dorgu and Amas against Wolves. I thought they were really good. Like, I was at the game and I was watching them, and I thought they were excellent going forward and defensively. Didn't put a foot wrong. And I think against Bournemouth, they'll be like, I think that's fine. Maybe he sets up a bit more defensively against Bilbao and he puts Mazraoui there just as a sort of defensive cover. And he switches Dorgu back to the left-hand side and uses that as the attack, not put the pressure on Amas. So I can see him going a bit more defensive in the first leg, get out of there with not losing or maybe snatching a win and take it back to Old Trafford where then you play the attack and you go for it and you win the game. So, yeah, I think there's enough players there to switch up and change it up without too much change. Again, we get battered by Bournemouth when we've got a full-strength team, so I don't think it really matters who plays there because we always seem to get battered by him anyway. So I'm not too fussed who plays, to be honest with you.
The reason why I asked that question specifically is because I think about Bournemouth's left-hand side with Kirkes, Semenyo and Kluivert drifting out there as well. And then you think about Athletic Club, who's got probably one of the best wingers in Europe at the minute. I mean, we saw it firsthand at the Euros as well in Nico Williams. That side's going to be a problem.
He's injured.
No, he played in the last game. He got 20 minutes in the last game. So,
Nico Williams did?
Yeah.
I thought he was injured.
Came on as a sub. He picked up an injury. He was injured, but he got 20 minutes in the last game against Las Palmas. Or I can't remember the team.
Right.
The other one is Sansei, who's injured.
Yeah.
Who's been incredible.
Yeah, I know he's injured. Yeah.
So that's something to keep an eye on as well. But yeah, that just concerns me, that right-hand side. I don't know how you solve that equation. And like you say, you don't necessarily want to rush Ahmad back, do you? Because if you do, and then he has another setback, you're potentially ruining a full 90 minutes in the final or something, and I think that's just way too much. So, very interested to see how he deals with that, but we've got to deal with the mighty Bournemouth first. And speaking of Bournemouth, 2 wins in the last 10 games. They've lost to Ipswich, Wolves, and West Ham in that run, which bodes well for us because they're teams that are around us in the Premier League. So, if you want to take anything positive from that, then be my guest. During December and January, they kept 5 clean sheets in 10 Premier League games. They seemed pretty solid defensively, but they failed to keep a clean sheet in any of the last 8 outings since the start of February, giving up leads numerous times against Spurs, Brentford, and West Ham. Obviously, they've had a couple of injuries. The absence of Justin Kluivert didn't help. He was out for a bit. And I think they had a couple of others as well. But just quickly on that pool of attacking players, Shreyas, who stands out for you out of the, let's say, the 4 players? Who do you really like out of that team?
Kluivert is definitely one of them. You could go with Semenyo as well. I think Semenyo has been very, very good for them this season. And both him and Kluivert actually complement each other quite well. They've got other players like Tavernier who, slot in and out of the team. But, for like 30, 35 minutes as impact subs, they do quite a bit of damage. And even Ilson as well has been a very good signing for them. He's very physical, agile on the ball, and he's got a good shot on him when it comes to, I think, his conversion ratio as well is probably in the top 8 or top 9 in the Prem when it comes to strikers. So they've got a very...
Sorry to think it cut you out. I think that encapsulates the power of the Premier League. The fact that Bournemouth can sign a striker from Porto for 40 million quid.
Yeah, it does. And that 40 million striker coming in and actually, having a very major impact on the team as well. And Evanilson actually is able to knit that attack together quite well when, he's got Kluivert playing as a shadow striker behind him. He's got Semenyo cutting in from one side, Tavernier or Otara, I think he is another player who they've got who actually slots from the left quite well. So they've got a lot of depth, but on the same hand, they've also got very different profiles. Semenyo and Kluivert are very different players. Evanilson and Otara are very different players. So together they cause a lot of problems, and they are able to disrupt the rhythms of opposition teams quite well when it comes to playing the ball centrally. So and they have had some very good results. They've beaten, I think, Nottingham Forest 5-0 this season. They've beaten us quite convincingly this season. So they've had some very decent performances. So, and I don't remember when was the last time we actually beat Bournemouth. So they've got a very good hold when it comes to recent records.
So when I do these kind of previews, I try now to go back and look at the past couple of games and the form that they're in at the minute. I mean, what you saw mid-season from Bournemouth, how good they were, how effective, the intensity, the press, how quick they shifted it in attack as well, and how confident they were. It doesn't seem like that in a minute. It seems like you're starting to see teams that are like playing through the press. Like there's a crack in the press. They're not as compact. They're getting outnumbered. Bits of kind of set piece sloppiness, throw-ins, free kicks, corners they're conceding from as well. And almost, I don't know if you'd say it's worse, but the keeper, Sam, we know all about with our keeper making mistakes. He's starting to make mistakes of the past now, which is something that kind of got clouded with him as well. But yeah, what do you make of Kepa as a keeper? Because initially when Chelsea bought him, there was a huge price tag, wasn't there?
Yeah, 75 million.
He's the most expensive keeper ever, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which is crazy, right, isn't it?
And yeah, lots of mistakes. There was a time as well when he refused to be subbed as well for Chelsea. I remember that.
Sorry.
Which was insanity. I've never seen that before. So yeah, when they picked him up, I was like, this is a weird thing. Like, I don't know why that.
Do you rate him?
No. Did he go to Madrid on loan as well?
Yeah.
When Courtois was out, yeah. So he's been all over the place. But I don't think he's a good goalie. I think there's too many mistakes in him. He has some great shot stopping and some great moments, much like Onana.
Yeah.
But he makes mistakes and he costs you games. And you can't afford to have that when you're chasing European positions as a goalie. Like, you have to be solid. Like, you don't have to be outstanding. Like, if you want to win titles and win leagues, you have to be outstanding. You have to be Alisson level. But if you want to fight for Europe, you can't make mistakes. Like, and he's made mistakes, and you can see now they've drifted down the table. Like, they were fighting for like 5th, 6th, maybe even like 7th, and now they're in 9th, 10th, and it's looking like a bit of a struggle. And it's part of the reason why we are where we are. Like, I know we've got nobody who can score goals, but at the same time, we've got a goalie who's just costing us points every single week. So, yeah, I don't rate him at all. And I know he's on loan, so I doubt they make it permanent. But yeah, they're going to have to go out and get a goalie in the summer.
On loan?
Yeah.
I thought they signed him permanently.
No, he's on loan because I don't know what wage he's on at Chelsea, but yeah, they can't shift him for sale. So yeah, I think they need to go out and sign a goalie. But like you were speaking about the ability to sign a £40 million striker from Porto, the ability to take Dean Hulson away from Juventus. That is insane.
12 million
like,
pound.
12 million. They're taking one of their best youth prospects, and he's come to the thing, and now he's worth 50 million in the Premier League because of the season he's had. Like, that shows you the power of the Premier League. Like, Bournemouth for this club, I think they've got the lowest stadium capacity in the league, I believe.
Yeah,
one of them anyway.
And and their ability to do that is just insane. And they've outperformed us this season for the most part, which again says it all. So yeah, they've done really, really well. But yeah, there's a couple of positions where you look at and you're like, Holson might go. Somebody might come snap him up. Somebody might come snap Semenyo up, Kluivert, and then they've got to get a goalie as well. But maybe that's their model. Maybe like Brighton, it's like, yeah, you can have our stars, but you're going to have to pay 50, 60, 70 million. And then we'll go out and we'll find the next one and we'll rebuild again. So they've seemed like they got it under control.
This is maybe a slight controversial take from me. I think this is a one-season wonder a little bit from Bournemouth. especially if they get into Europe. I think if they get into Europe and they've got to invest a lot more money and they've got to broaden the squad, I don't think they can play. You're already seeing a major drop-off now in the way they're playing in the league. If you add European football to that as well, I think they are going to drop. And I think the players as well are almost having their best season at like the same times. Like all these things are kind of lining up. I don't think you're going to see a repeat next season.
Do they lose their manager as well, though? That's a possibility. Does somebody come in for Viola?
Well, that was going to be my next thing.
One.
Yeah,
that's another one. Like, because I know Spurs might not keep Ange, so there's a possibility there. You look at Chelsea. Again, Maresca's not guaranteed at that club for a long time, is he? I know Eddie Howe's won a trophy with Newcastle, but they're going to look to upgrade at some point because they want to win a title. So it's like, do you look at the young managers coming through? So yeah, he could be snapped up as well.
On him, I just think I like his brand of football, but when you go for that high intensity style and the demands that he puts on the players, I think it's bound to catch up with you physically and mentally at some point down the line. When it's that intense.
It happened with Klopp's team, didn't it? You saw him just like tire out, and then a bunch of injuries happened. Like Van Dijk was out, and thingy was out. Like loads of people like fell out, didn't it? Because and then that's why he left, because he said it's too taxing. Like he couldn't take it anymore. Because just go for that thing.
Relentless.
It's why he didn't last long at Dortmund. It's why he didn't last long at Mainz. Like it's a tough style to keep going. So yeah, he might have to move on sooner rather than later.
That's a tale, really, innit, of the Premier League and where we're at, just as a league in general, Shreyas, with the teams, the athletic ability that's expected and physicality from teams, the output. You've seen Bournemouth now, where everyone was talking about them finishing Champions League spots. Now they're 9th or 10th. To keep it up and be sustainable for a full season, 38 games, is almost impossible at that rate, isn't it? The way they're pressing.
Yeah, because look, you're not going to go into every single game expecting the perfect environment, the perfect coordination, the perfect passing, because other teams are going to come at you with their own, box of tricks and actually try to disrupt your rhythm as well, the way you try to. And I think, like you mentioned, for me, I don't see Bournemouth replicating or doing anything better than what they've done this season. I think next season we will see a drop off. I say the same for Fulham as well. I think Fulham has peaked as much as they could possibly do with the kind of players they've got. And considering, Robinson might be moving, some other players might be moving for them next season as well. I expect both of these clubs, Fulham as well as Bournemouth, to have a drop off going into next season. And I think this season, the way the Prem has moved, I think what I do believe has happened is the teams who usually occupy those, mid-table spots. You talk about Palace, you talk about Bournemouth, Fulham. These clubs have found some sort of form. Their players have found some sort of form, and all of those players have found form at the same moments. So collectively, they've looked even.
Someone's ringing him, I think. I can already tell when someone's like the panic in the eyes and the audio cuts. Try speak for Shreyas.
He's muted. Unmute yourself.
Hello.
There we go.
Yeah, you good.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, I think the teams that were in the topmost places. You look at City, you look at Arsenal, you look at us who used to be there. Chelsea used to be, and even Spurs. They have not been at it at all this season. No sort of consistency at all. Even if they got like a run of 5 games, they could only win 2 or 3 games, and on the bounce, and then lose the 2 or draw and lose the 2. So there was no sort of consistency, and because of that, the clubs that used to occupy those mid-table spots have been able to actually gain a lot of points throughout that time.
It makes me think of when a coach is approaching a certain philosophy. Do these things come into mind? Like, yeah, it'd be great to play like Liverpool, or it'd be great to play like Newcastle do when they're at St. James's Park. But then you have to kind of almost contend that the injuries that are going to come along with that, will they get burned out halfway through the season? Is it physically capable to get these levels throughout a full kind of domestic season? I don't know. There's some stats kind of back this up with Bournemouth at the minute on what we've been talking about. Across the last 6 matches, the Cherries have run 2.3 kilometres fewer per 90 minutes than they did previously. And obviously in central midfield, the pressurised opponents with decreased aggression. That's according to the stats I was looking at before. So that's just factual that they are slightly dropping off. On Sunday, what Bournemouth are you expecting to turn up, Sam? Are you scared of this team?
Yeah. They've got some really dangerous players. Semenyo is tears people apart on a weekly basis. Evan Nielsen's was injured out for a while, but he's come back and he started scoring already.
Yeah.
So he's not lost a step. Kluivert's dropped off a little bit, but he's still a dangerous player. Like you saw, I think we spoke about the Bournemouth against when he went away to Newcastle and Kluivert scored a hat trick, just absolutely ripped
He was
him apart.
unbelievable that game.
Yeah. So he's got that in him. Like he's a very, very good player. We spoke on Howson as well. Like really good defender. Kirkes. Like they've got players all over the park who can cause problems, who are difficult to play with. And like I said, that intense press, that counter attack. So if we're pressing up and we're trying to find a goal and we leave spaces in behind, they're just going to walk through it and just end up using those players to sort of tear you to pieces. And they've done it to us multiple times. Like we've seen it under Ten Hag, under Amrim. Like it's happened to us multiple times. So yeah, this is a team you don't fuck about with. Like they are a very dangerous team and they can make you look stupid. I suppose we're playing them at the right time because they are in a bit of a down period and they're not playing as well.
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't take them lightly at all. Like this is not a team you take lightly.
No, and history would definitely suggest that. Right, with that in mind, let's do ones to watch then in this game. Shreyas, give me one from United and one from Bournemouth who you think are going to make an impact in this game.
For us, Bruno. For them, Kluivert.
Sam?
For them, Kirkes, I can see him getting down one of those, whoever's playing at right back and getting past them. I can see that happening and getting a ball. He's very good at putting that ball into the box. Cut back. He's very good at that. So I can see that happening because we know how good we are at defending cutbacks, aren't we? We're excellent at defending those. And then for United, I'll go with Mason Mount if he plays because I think he's got to start at some point. Has to start. So I don't want to spoil my team, but I've put him in my team, so I think he has to start at some point.
Yeah, we always get one small spoiler, don't we? So we'll get into those teams very, very, very shortly. I've gone Cheeto if they give him a chance because I think he deserves a chance as well as start.
He does. He does.
Rasmus is doing nothing. You know what I mean? He's doing literally nothing, so just put Cheeto in. Whether he will or not, I'll wait until I speak about the team. Bournemouth, Evan Nielsen, I've gone for because 4 goals in his last 5 games, and he's looking like he's starting to peacock a little bit at the minute. So he is someone who I think is definitely going to score on Sunday. Or if anyone's going to score on Sunday, it'll be him. Right, quick fire questions, ladies and gentlemen. Who scores first?
Bournemouth.
Who will start at right wing back?
Dorgu.
Yeah, Dorgu.
What's our best way of winning this game?
Penalty. On goal.
Fair play.
I suppose soak up pressure and try and counter. Because they're going to be a high press. They're going to push forward. They're going to want lots of the ball. So hope when they press up and Kirkes is bombing on and they're pushing up thing, try and get space in behind. I suppose that's the best way.
I know you're probably right, but how the mighty have fallen, innit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's the reality, innit? The reality.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm 15th in the league, and we're travelling to Bournemouth saying we can nick it by a penalty or counter-attack. It's just mad. It's absolute mad.
Yep.
How many Bournemouth players would get into our side currently?
Oh, Jesus. Kirkes, Howson,
Semenyo,
Kluivert,
and Evan Nielsen. Definitely Evan Nielsen. 5?
Yeah, I think half the team at least would get in.
Yeah.
To ours. And that's minimum. You could probably deep dive further into it, but probably minimum, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus. And who gets player of the match for you on Sunday?
Semenyo.
Should we just move on?
Semenyo.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go with Evan Nielsen again. Right, starting 11. Shreyas, yours is first on the screen, mate. So run us through it, buddy.
I've gone with Binder in net. I've gone with Dorgu and Amas as wing backs because that's all we've got. I think I've gone with Lindelof and Mazraoui and whoever got in third centre back position.
Shaw.
Yeah, I think it would be better for Shaw to start this one because he needs some minutes. And going into that game against Bilbao, like you mentioned the players, Nico Williams, Iñaki Williams, Berenguer, then you got Gruzetta, I think they've got a striker. So you need someone like Shaw who's got good ability on the ball and who's, at least be able to hold off his own in those half channels. So I think giving Shaw a game, especially, against players like Semenyo, players like Kluivert, I think it could get him up to speed quite quickly. So Shaw, that would be my back line. I've gone with Bruno and Ugarte in the midfield. Um, I just think that, considering the game and like how Sam mentioned as well, that if we want to soak pressure and then actually hit them on the counter, the only player who can actually, make those through balls on the half turn is Bruno Fernandes. And you actually need him to be in one of those deep line positions for that to actually happen. So Bruno and Ugarte in midfield. Then I've gone with Garnacho, Chido, and
Mainu.
Mainu I've gone with, because again, Mainu I think needs more match sharpness. I think going into that game he'll be used as well. Mount I don't want to risk before that Europa League game, because he's very quick to pick up an injury. And now that Xerxes is out as well, we need to retain as many attackers as we possibly can. So Mount, I'm not going to start. Garnacho is probably the only one who's got any sort of pace in that, that burst of pace in that attack. So if you do want to actually trouble them on the counter, Garnacho is your best bet. So Garnacho and Meno on the other side, I think technically very sound, good center of gravity, and very good on the ball. Has had some very good moments in the past few games. So Meno starts, and I just don't know, how to get any sort of confidence out of Hoyland right now. So it's, I think, better than actually giving him a start every single game and him not scoring. It would be better to actually give Chido a start. Maybe he is able to come up with something, get some momentum in the remaining Premier League games, and somehow Hoyland can generate some sort of form too.
Yeah, at this point, it feels like we're all going with players we want to see rather than the actual predicted
Yeah.
lineup, because I've done the exact. I mean, we've all got different teams. So, Sam, walk us through yours.
Yeah, so I've got Bayende in net. Just give him some minutes. Just give him some thing and go, keep him fresh. Dorgu on the right, because we don't have any other right back options because with Dallo being out. Mazraoui, I would love to rest him, but again, every other player I look at, I'm just like, who can we put there? And there isn't really anybody who could do the right centre back role that I want to risk. Lindelof in the middle, because I think he's going to want to rest Maguire for Bilbao. Shaw at left centre back, because I think he wants to rest Yoro, and he wants to give. We need to give Shaw some minutes. Amas at left back, because I think he's been excellent, doesn't deserve to lose his place. I've gone with Ugarte and Mainu in the middle because I want to rest Bruno for this game. So I've gone with those two. And I think he's probably going to play Casemiro as well because he keeps talking about how important Casemiro is. So I think he's going to rest him for this one.
Yeah.
Play against Bilbao. And I've got Mount and Garnacho in the 2-10s. And I could see when we're out of possession, Mount dropping back into that midfield three to sort of try and be a bit more defensive solidity because he is a workhorse. He does like to get into a scrap. So I can see him dropping back. And I've put Chido up top because Rasmus Højlund is stinking up the joint. And what's the worst going to happen that Chido comes in? He's not going to score a goal like Rasmus Højlund is. Just give him a game. Let's see what he's got and let's play him. So yeah, I can see Bruno coming on at some point and a couple other players sort of to keep them ticking over. But that's the team I'd like to see. It's probably not going to be the team that we get.
Yeah, I've gone from more because I think the balance with rhythm and rest is going to be very tricky with this, because let's say the selected players that he really wants to play is Casemiro, Bruno, Maguire. Then are you just going to keep them cold and keep them into the Bilbao game, kind of just straight off the bat? Or are you going to give him 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Or are you going to play him for 60 minutes and then take him off? I've gone with the latter option. I think Onana's going to go in net. And obviously, not going to swap goalkeeper in the game, but I just think for that rhythm, we'll want to keep him in net. I think Yoro, Maguire, and Fredrickson will actually keep his place, because I was really, really interested with Fredrickson. I thought he played really well.
I forgot about Fredrickson. Yeah. I really did. I should have put him in because I totally forgot.
Yeah,
I thought he was really good. Surprised me a lot.
Yeah.
Because instantly I went, one, who is this player? Haven't watched much of him at all.
Yeah.
Two, his height and size concerns me a lot against the physical Wolves team. And then three, he was really good on the ball.
Really simple as well, didn't he? Made the right decision every time. I'd probably switch Mazraoui out and put Fredrickson.
Like the experienced player. I was like, it's just bizarre.
I agree.
I've put Maz at right wing back just because. Yeah, I don't know why it was a toss up between him and Dorgu. I don't really care who starts there, to be honest with you. I just play someone there. Amas at left wing back, Ugarte and Casemiro in the middle. And I think Ugarte will probably get taken off, and Casemiro as well in the 60th, 70th. And then Bruno, Garnacho, and Cheeto up top, because I don't think Mount, as much as I want him to start, he just doesn't seem to be starting games for whatever reason. So Bruno will start this one, or he'll have a tantrum on the bench, and then Garnacho and Cheeto up top. Cheeto mainly because I just want to see him play like you guys as well. So yeah, going to be fascinating to see who starts. Probably one of the hardest ones to predict. Is it the same with the scores, lads?
Has anybody got a positive one? No. Cool. Just checking.
Right, can we see who's got the worst one? That's what we'll go with. I think mine's okay-ish.
Right, you go with yours first then.
0-0.
Okay, now that is fairly positive, isn't it? Jesus.
Yeah.
I'll go. I've gone 3-1 Bournemouth.
Wow.
I've gone 3-0 Bournemouth.
Oh, fucking hell. Well, we've done it in the right order then. I said 0-0, 3-1, 3-0. So at least we've done it that way. I can see all three of them being true, to be honest with you. So, yeah. Anyone in the comment section, if you would like to give us a positive result, then please do get it in the comment section. If you want to give a negative one, then be my guest. But I think everyone's kind of half expecting what's going to go down in this game. No one's really like, can't wait for Sunday. Seaside, Bournemouth, Vitality Stadium, let's go. Everyone's just like, get past this fucking game. If you get a draw, fantastic. Yeah. Bilbao.
And no one gets injured.
Let's get to Thursday.
No one gets injured. That's the main thing. Wrap everyone. Just put all the players in those, them bubble things that people play football in.
Yeah.
Put them in them, and they'll just run about. If they lose, they lose. At least they're protected, and we can go on Thursday. Because Bilbao, as well, by the way, I mentioned him before about them being a good team. Their stadium as well. I was listening to the fans whilst I was watching the game. The atmosphere in them stadiums is crazy. So mentally they have to be prepared as well as physically. So let's just pray that there's no injuries, please, on Sunday. I beg you. That's the only outcome I care about, genuinely. Yeah. Right, we'll leave it at that. This has been the preview for Bournemouth versus Manchester United at the Seaside with your sand buckets. Good luck, lads. No one's really bothered. We're waiting for Thursday. See you in a bit.